Hi friends, it's a podcast update. It's only the second time I've done something like this, and it's kind of a response to the changing landscape, the changing tech landscape out there, and just to update you on some of the things and the plans that I have for the future. Now, during this update, I've got a number of stuff, bits and pieces, pages open, stuff from Bloomberg about a report they did in podcasting, something from Patreon, something from Buzzsprout, as well as some stats and stuff from YouTube, which I'm going to click around and refer to as I do this. But the reason I have done this update is because of the changing landscape, the changing state of the creative world out there for people like me who in a sense are trying to create something of value for you, which in this case of course is primarily the Bible Project daily podcast. And there has been a huge change in that landscape, particularly in the last 12 months. Now, I'm doing this as a video because the YouTube people, I've had 42 new subscribers on there, which is great, but I'm doing this in a video version, so the sound quality will be recorded off the video mic, so it won't be so great for the audio people. I'm particularly interested in reaching them and other people on the other platforms other than the traditional podcasting way of doing it, because I just want to update you on some of the changes on the situation and circumstances over there. It is a sort of a mixture of a golden age for people who want to reach people in the world, but there are some dark clouds gathering on the horizon. The tech companies are changing the way in which they sort of control how we as people try and reach out to you as a community or even beyond that into the world. Now, on one level, there's never been a better time in history to be doing something like I'm doing now. More people than ever have the tools right on their desktops or on their laptops to be able to create content and to share that, and even for some people to earn income from it. Yet, as people who are trying to do that, even if you're not trying to do it with a primary motivation of monetizing it, rest assured the tech platforms are trying to monetize you as followers and monetize our relationship with the others. And there are more obstacles coming in. Volatile platforms, unpredictable income, attacks on that income, even that little bit of income that I have from some of you guys, and most importantly, increased difficulty in being able to maintain a relationship and reach people, those people who've made the decision to follow or to subscribe. So the list of attacks and difficulties go on, and these problems are real, friends. Now, I'm optimistic about the future of the internet for creative people because of these new types of platforms where you can genuinely create a community of people around something like this, where is not affected by the attempt of these platforms to constantly pull you away from that person that you like and try and keep you stuck on them, watching more and more, well, frankly, short form, mindless stuff. Now, I myself will continue to use YouTube for video content, but primarily for its ability to put things into playlists. But I'm not going down the route of doing video podcasts. It fundamentally changes the way in which you do things. The sound quality drops, but also you've got so many other things to worry about. Whether or not you're in frame, whether or not there's the lighting's right, all these other things to think about, rather than focusing all my energy into studying the Word of God and creating the best version of what I am able with my limited giftings to do in presenting it to you. But because of course the shift has been to these shorter term format, hasn't it? The motivation is to keep you on their platform. So there are challenges on their way, and I would say there's been a fundamental shift away from the ability for people doing stuff, and you as people who want to hear the stuff we're doing, being able to keep that relationship. Now, the two big attacks that have come both in the last year was one, Apple's decision that people who no longer who miss more than a minimum of two, maybe 3 or 4 episodes of a podcast in a row that they're subscribing to, Apple now remove that show, that program from your feed. They say if it's for lack of engagement. Now, that would seem fair to me if it's a monthly podcast like my church history podcast. But when I'm trying to do something here which is uniquely allow people to make the study of the Word of God part of the rhythm of your daily life, you only have to go away on holiday or have a break for a few days and it will disappear out of your feed. It will no longer be one of those shows that you follow. And the week they introduced that change back, I would say in about July, I would guess last year, a third of my listening figures dropped by a third overnight. They've crept back up again to roughly where they are, but you can see that these challenges are one of the fundamental changes in the way things are shifting. And the other thing is, if you're one of those people who support me financially, and I couldn't do this without you, then if your payment is coming to me through Apple, Apple are now going to take 30% of that payment. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not asking anybody to increase their payment. That's not the issue here. I would much rather I had a much larger community of people who were paying absolutely, the minimum, a couple of dollars a month, or nothing at all, if we were genuinely an engaged group of people who are together making this decision as a community to go through the word together. Now, the main source of these stats I'm going to throw at you come from a report on Bloomberg, some stuff from Buzzsprout themselves on how they're gauging things, and a survey done by Patreon of over 3,000 creators and followers. And I think what they have learned and what these articles have reported is really interesting. Now, you see, what has changed is the fact that the creator and the follower relationship used to be the beating heart, not only of social media, but also the whole internet in a way. The follow and subscribe button that we're all familiar with was the way in which you were able to keep up with someone that you wanted to follow, someone that you loved, something that you found helpful in your life. And that was which helped creators build loyal, engaged, energized communities around their art or around their work on places. Well, all these platforms, I'll not name them by name, but you know who they all are. But today, these feeds are increasingly being filled not with the posts that the people they follow. You may think you're getting them all. You're not anymore. They're being filled by posts that they think will keep people stuck on their platform, filled with ads also, and ultimately with these short form 15-second videos. The sort of stuff specifically designed to be addictive and to keep you watching, but in fairness, I would say, doesn't really provide you with anything of lasting value. Nothing like the long form educational format of some of the great podcasts that are out there, and even, in my way, what I'm trying to do. Now, there is also this push for every creator to consider creating video content as well. My response to that is yes, I'm going to carry on YouTube and these other places, but the video format will never be anything much more than just my audio edited together with a still image. And that's all you're going to really get from me most of the time on places like YouTube. Excuse me. So not that visually engaging. I'm not really first class video content. As my mother used to say, I've got a great face for radio. That's the focus of what I'm doing, because engaging with people in the audio, the production time is so much less, the quality is higher, and I am able to totally focus on what I'm trying to do in studying the Word of God and creating the best possible content, and no time being wasted in all that extra stuff required for creating video content. So the videos on YouTube will be there. but I want you to be aware that it's not the best way to access what I'm doing or even all I'm doing. And ultimately, the whole time you're there, you will be bombarded by this wrecking ball of people trying to pull you away from the content from the people you want to follow and just drop all this stuff into your feeds. The shift away from the follow and subscribe economy was led by Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. Obviously, you've noticed these shorts appearing everywhere, but what really changed the landscape was TikTok coming in. So what that meant was, yes, it's fun, yes, it's engaging, but it is a shift away from giving control over you and what you see from what they predict that will keep you engaged and stuck on their platform. From a business approach, this strategy is hugely successful for them. But for creators and people doing what I'm trying to do, that we are all beginning to realize that this isn't built for us in any way. The platform's business, of course, relies on ad revenue, and it incentivizes the engagement of keeping you on their site watching the stuff that they want you to see, ideally short form, so that when a little 15-second ad is dropped in amongst a host of other 15-second ads, that it doesn't crash in and feel like the wrecking ball it used to be. The ad revenue, of course, in these platforms that you're hearing and interrupting my podcasts, and I'm aware that some of my 30-minute podcasts, when viewed through a platform, are like 42 minutes long. That ad revenue is not coming back to me because that's not the way I'm choosing to work. But the reality is, not just me, everyone's finding it harder and harder to reach our people and harder to build a community, certainly on these existing platforms. So the survey said, I'm just pulling it up here, 60% of people are now recognizing, and I would say the other people just don't recognize it, is that they're not seeing the stuff that they used to see on the people they wanted to follow anymore. I'm finding that all the time. The stuff that I like and subscribe to, particularly on these social media based channels, I'm not finding anymore. But that's even come across and infected some of the audio podcast platforms. You think you're following someone, but you're not getting the stuff that they're posting. They're taking active steps to stop you seeing it. What you don't see is from the other side of it, some organizations, some of these platforms are saying to me, this post you put up, do you want to make sure all your fans see it? And then they're asking you to subscribe or take an ad out to ensure they see it, which suggests to me, I might be wrong in this, but surely that means they're actually actively discriminating and stopping my people who are following me from seeing all my posts. So I, like many other people, am feeling rather manipulated about this. The algorithms are affecting the ability for you and I to have a relationship on all these types of platforms. But thankfully, there has been this new rise of these community-led platforms. I'm just pulling some stuff up there. The pressure to create is interesting here. 75% of creators. So that's, I would, when I talk about creators, they're talking about people like me who are creating content. Well, you know what happens for me to be, I'm just doing Bible studies together with you and I, but they're punishing us. 75% of people who do what I do say we're being punished and we're being pushed to constantly to create work in different formats, all these audio and video formats for all these different platforms. And nearly 80% say that burnout has impacted their motivation to continue or just to keep posting. So we're not only feeling manipulated, we're feeling gate kept. The gatekeepers are stopping the people who want to follow us from following us. But the beauty of platforms like Patreon and the others is they are genuinely a way in which to create a community around this, a community that is owned by that community itself and the creator behind it, which in this case is me, and it allows us to be community together, which is, after all, that's what the Daily Bible Project is all about. We all really want to have a direct communication with the people who like, love, follow, subscribe the stuff we're doing. And that is actively being stopped by a lot of these platforms. So what's the way forward? Well, the way forward is I'm really happy for everyone just to continue listening and accessing this content in whatever way you want to do it. But if you want to get involved and you want to make sure you see everything I post, then for me, Patreon is the gold standard, the go-to place. That's the place where we can be community. That's the place where every time I make a post, you will see what that post is. Now, let's be clear. Patreon is a place where some people choose to support my ministry. It's not the core thing for me. I couldn't do it without them, but it is, for me, core in the sense it's the place where we really can be and become that group of people who are studying the Bible together. Those people who value what I'm doing and want to just be part of that experience and encourage me in whatever way it may be. So I have recently, in the last 24 hours, significantly added some new facilities onto the Patreon community and what we can do together over there. Now, what I mean by that is you can sign up. It is still free to sign up and follow, and you will get a notification of every post. Now, because Patreon require that I provide some content, especially for people who are financially supporting me. I can't just say you're supporting the Bible Project Daily podcast, even though in reality that's what you're doing. But because they say you have to create some sort of digital content, some of the extra bonus content I put, the midweek stuff I put behind a paywall temporarily so I can be legitimately seen to be providing digital content, selling, if you like, a product to those people who are financially supporting me, that they're getting something for their money. That sits behind the paywall for 12 months and then is dropped into the main podcast and spread on all the other platforms after the 12 months expires and is also unlocked on Patreon. So the main motivation is to build that community of people where we can be and become the Bible Project Daily Podcast community over there. And the two key ways going forward in doing this is as I've added into the community feature. Let me just pull it up. Several new chats, one of which is going to be a prayer request, which I only launched a little over 24 hours ago and has already got 4 prayer requests. So that's a place where you can go, share your prayer. Don't share your actual personal details in terms of exactly where you live or mention any names of people that you're praying about, certainly not without their permission. But that's the place where you can go and put a prayer request, and we as community can begin to pray about that. And since just doing that a couple of days ago, well, if I go in there, there's been 4 prayer requests already, which is really great. And people, now, of course, my focus is going to remain wholly on producing the podcasts. I will engage a little bit over there, but I'm hoping that those of you who are part of and or want to be part of that community will begin to support one another over there in that place. But there's also the facility where you can send me a direct message, and that's expanding as well to allow you to ask a question, which I then answer in the outro of a future episode. And then finally, there's another new chat facility where you can initiate or have a discussion with anybody within the community who wants to do that as a follow-up to any episode. So each episode, when it's posted, creates a new link where you can go and make some comments about what I've said. So it's all about becoming a place where those of you who've made that decision to say, yeah, I want to follow this guy, you want to follow me, you want to subscribe to receive it, that you will still be able to do that and be guaranteed to do that. And actually, as an added benefit, you get all these extra things over there, including the transcript of what I've said, including episode and study notes, including, what's the other thing? Oh yeah, the ad-free version of the podcast. Everything is released about a week early over there, and it's ad-free. So that's where we're going. That's the way I think we can beat the algorithms, and we can continue to thrive together. You can continue to support me prayerfully, most importantly, encouraging me, and also just be who God has meant us to be together and share this wonderful experience of going through the Bible chapter by chapter, verse by verse. So if you're one of those subscribers who's on YouTube and you're happy just to receive a 2-hour audio every couple of days where I compile the episodes into one with just a picture of the referencing the Bible book that we're covering, then that's fine. You stick with that. But if you want to have to get, how can I put it? If that's not going to work for you in the future, and you too are getting frustrated by the constant pulling out away from the fact that, let me try again. If you want to get engaged more on the genuine level that I'm sure was your plan when you first made the decision to click on that follow or subscribe button, well, there are news and ways in which we can do that together. Let me just check if there's anything else I wanted to say this morning. Yeah, I suppose I'm saying I'm just a fan of video podcasting. I'm a fan of the intimacy it brings, the fact that you can always do this, regardless of how busy your eyes are, you can still engage with this completely through your ears. You can do it while doing other things. You can do it. I know because of the feedback I get, some people are doing this while they're exercising. Some people are doing it while they're out walking. Some people are doing it on the commute. Some people are listening together to it as families as they go on long drives. All of that good stuff is happening out there. And none of that can really be done with video, which requires your attention visually as well. So anyway, that's that. Was there anything else I wanted to cover off? Just thank you to everybody who's come on board in the last month or so. We've had 42 new people join on YouTube and all the social media channels that I post on. I've had a few more people sign up on Buzzsprout to follow me. Buzzsprout, you will get every single post that I put on there, which is good, but not the video posts. And let's have a look on Patreon and say a hi. Where's the community button? Sorry about this. Let's have a look. Notifications, that's the one. Is it? Yeah, just say hi to, let's say hello to a few people who've come on to Patreon in the last, let's say since February. We've got Craig, got Heather, we've got Naptown RDH, whoever that is, shout out to them. We've got Laurie. There's lots of comments here. I'm going down. David. TC, I think you know who you are. I don't like to use people's names unless they have given me permission. Solomon, that's 2 weeks ago. Martha, we're up to 3 weeks now. Lots of comments from people. That's how I'm going to scroll down. Ed, go back to the beginning of February. Barry, Laurie, Beverly, Erica, Rennie, that was the 3rd of February. And that's it. So all those people have joined, most of them as free members, just to follow and to make sure they don't miss any of the posts. So thanks to them for joining. Welcome to the community. Have a look over there, get involved, and And all being well, I'll see you back here again tomorrow, or whatever day it is for you. Drop this in between the end of Joshua. We're about to launch off together into the book of Romans, which I've already prepared the first episode on, and I'm mapping out the future ones. But between then and now, I've got a couple of these philosophy ones which are coming up on their year annual stuff that's sat behind the paywall at Patreon. They're going to be dropped in over the next couple of days to give me more time to prep further and further into Romans. So I'll sign off as I always do, and I'll say bye-bye for now, and I'll see you back here again tomorrow, I trust, on the Bible Project Daily Podcast. Bye-bye for now.